Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Um, Today's video will be reviewing Thursday night football between the Jags and Saints, and then we'll be doing a week 7 preview and picks. Right now our record against the spread is 41, 27, and 3. We'll just get started with it. Jags Saints. I thought Trevor Lawrence showed like a lot of poise today and showed that he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. And I say that because it's a short week. He's playing with a hurt knee or a sprained knee, I guess is what it's called. Um, in New Orleans, one of the harder places to play. He had no mistakes, maybe a few bad reads here and there on like long one that came up where he tried to force it to Ridley, but uh, he was 20 of 29, 204 yards and 60 yards rushing with a touchdown against a good defense in New Orleans. They may not be a good team, but they have a good defense. Um, and yeah, I just thought that was something like really good to see. Um, Derek Carr wasn't great. It felt like the only source of offense was coming from Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. For whatever reason, he just couldn't get the ball to his receivers, Chris Olave and Michael Thomas, who are very good receivers, by the way. I thought that was a little concerning. He couldn't really connect with them that much. That kind of seems to be a pattern this year. I don't know. Um, I thought he needed to check it down more. He kept it seemed like he was so set on forcing the ball down the field instead of checking it down. And against the Jags pass rush, you just can't do that. Uh, I believe Josh Allen had 11 pressures. He didn't have a sack, but he had 11 pressures. Um, and yeah, he needed to just check the ball down more. Um, it's kind of concerning now with Derek Carr. He seems to be getting worse every year. And last week he got outplayed by a rookie in a game they really should have won. And he couldn't convert third down. And I think a talking point with Derek Carr this season is he just got a new contract. Um, and when you see quarterbacks get these huge contracts, they have less money to spend on like weapons for him, less money for the offensive line, less money for receivers. And it's just like Derek Carr isn't good enough to make up for that. He needs that help around him, which he's just, eh, I don't know. It's not quite there. Um, Despite all this, the Jags almost blew it. The Saints defense was good enough to keep them in the game long enough until the offense woke up. As I said, there is lots of Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. I believe Alvin Kamara had like 15 receptions as a running back, which is just pretty crazy. Um, After uh, the Jags had a pick six, and after that, Doug Peterson started playing more conservatively, even though there was like a whole quarter left, or maybe like a quarter and a couple minutes. Um, and it seemed like they would just run the ball every play, and the Saints are their defense was good enough to stop that. And eventually, as I said, the offense woke up and they got a touchdown after that. And then it seemed like they started playing prevent defense, and it almost lost them the game. but the Saints couldn't find the end zone. Red zone offense has been a huge problem for them this year. Um, and I was thinking maybe, I don't know if playing the prevent defense, like maybe that was part of their plan because because they knew their red zone offense was so bad. So they just decided to play prevent and then stop them in the red zone. But it got pretty close there. I think Dennis Allen is a bad coach. He had inconsistent decisions on fourth down. Sometimes he went for it, sometimes he didn't. Like with good field position, that is. Play calling was all over the place, and it felt like if they got into a situation where they were in second and long, the drive was dead, like over. There was a point where there was second and 20. It was just like, yeah, this drive is over, and it was. Um, Last thought on this game is after a 1-2 start, the Jags go 4-0, and they go 4-0 with 2 games in London, and then they come back without a bye in a division game, and they win that like handedly. And then on a short week with an injured quarterback, they have to go to New Orleans, which is a tough place to play, and win there. And I think that's just huge. I'm not sure many teams would be able to handle that. I just thought showed a lot of poise and a lot of credit to Doug Peterson for keeping his team ready through all of that. All right, next we got uh we'll do week 7 preview and picks. Time I'll spend a longer amount of time on some games than others. First one we got Cleveland at Indiana. I got Cleveland -2.5 here. I don't trust Minshew against the Browns defense. And Deshaun Watson might be questionable. If he plays, I think they definitely cover the 2.5. I'm not so sure with PJ Walker, but I feel more comfortable taking the Browns defense than I do Gardner Minshew. Next, we got Chargers at Kansas City. I'm going to take Chargers +5.5 here. I don't think Herbert will be that bad twice in a row. It's just not like him. Um, so I think it's a great bounce back spot. I don't think Kansas City's offense is the same this year. So I expect it to be close. I do think Kansas City will win, but I'm going to take the +5.5 here because the way Kansas City is going to win this game is probably with their defense rather than their offense. So I think it's going to be a close game, probably like a field goal or something. These games are usually always close, if I remember right. Next, we got Lions at Ravens. I got Ravens -2.5 here. I know everyone is all over the Lions right now, and with good reason. I know I've been picking against them for the past couple of weeks now, and I want to stress like I do think they are a great team. Um, but the reason I'm picking the Ravens here is there's going to be a lot of wind on the East Coast, and this is going to be like a running type of game. I think Baltimore is great at running the ball with Lamar, and they also have the second rated defense in the league. Um, and Detroit's starting running backs, Montgomery and Gibbs, are both out for this game. So I'm not sure Goff is going to be able to throw the ball as much as he usually does. And the Ravens defense is very good. So I'm going to take Ravens -2.5 here. And again, the Lions are very good. If you're a Lions fan, I know I've been picking against them the past couple of weeks and I've been wrong. Uh, it's just this week with Montgomery and Gibbs out, and I think it's gonna be a run heavy game as well. Next, Buffalo at New England. Buffalo's favored by 8.5. I'm taking Buffalo 8.5 here. Usually I would take New England here, but like I wrote down last week, like, do not take Mac Jones. Like Mac Jones is awful. I believe his last 13 starts as a dog, he's like 0 and 13 or something. He's just awful. He lost them the cover last week. He lost them games before that. He's just awful, and they might be tanking. Um, and I'm pretty sure Mac might be like mentally broken because everyone hates him, and with good reason. He's a dirty player and he's trash. Um, but yeah, next we got Raiders at Chicago. I'm gonna take Raiders money line here. I usually pick spreads, but this one's close enough to where you can get value on the money line. So I'll take Raiders money line here. I don't like the Bears backup. Granted, he's only played one game, and then the Raiders are also playing with the backup. I just think Max Crosby is really gonna harass the Bears backup here. I don't like the coaching matchup, but like because I don't like Josh McDaniels. Um, but I don't think Stefanski is that much better. So I just Raiders money line here. I think they're just a better overall team, even though they're both using backup quarterbacks. Also, like, I think Jimmy G might be out for the season. No one's like talked about it, or I mean, no one's talked about this type of like being out for the season. The reason I say that is last game he had to leave due to a back injury, like in the middle of the game, and he had to go to the hospital for it. And anytime you go to the hospital for a back injury, that's like DEFCON level 5, in my opinion. I have a back injury. I've had to go to the hospital twice for it, and it's just, it's the worst. And usually the weeks following, you're still in pain. I just don't, if it was that bad, he had to go to the hospital, I don't see him coming back like this season, unless they just fill him up with painkillers, which is very possible. But yeah, anyways, take Raiders money line. Next, we got Washington at New York Giants. I'm gonna take Washington minus 2.5. This is just good D line versus bad O line. Daniel Jones might be out for this game, and the Giants D line has been very underwhelming this season. Kayvon Thibodeau is invisible. I don't know what happened to him, but it's week 7 now, and they still don't have anything figured out. So I don't know. I like Washington here. I think Sam Howell is probably getting better at avoiding sacks. I mean, that game against Philadelphia, he did great at it. Um, so yeah, I like Washington minus 2.5 here. I feel like the Giants might be in a bit of a letdown spot after that emotional loss last week. We saw Brian Dable at halftime go off on his quarterback, which is, I don't know. I didn't really care for that. Um, I think Brian Dable is a little overrated in general, but and then they nearly won it with a bad missed call. I think they're gonna be a little uh I just think it's a bad spot for them. So next we got Atlanta at Tampa. I got Tampa minus 2.5 here. Desmond Ritter is just so bad. Um I feel like the way Atlanta plays is they run the ball like the first 2 downs. And then depending on what happens, they usually ask Ritter to bail them out on like a 3rd and 6. And Tampa's run defense is very good. I feel like they're probably going to stop the run and make Ritter beat them with his arm, and I just don't see that happening. I believe Atlanta, I saw a stat that Atlanta has been outscored 13 to 40 on the road this season. So, and this game is in Tampa. So I don't like Ritter. I don't know. I can't pick him anymore. Um, so yeah. And I think Tampa will bounce back here after last week. They had a bad week last week. Um, and also it's kind of crazy. Like, are we saying that Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the NFC South? Like Baker Mayfield, the best quarterback in the division. That's you wouldn't have said that last year, 2 years ago. So yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. I like Baker Mayfield over Desmond Ritter. Um, Next we got Green Bay at Denver. I'm taking Green Bay +1 here. I think Jordan Love will bounce back after a bye week. A lot of it seemed, a lot of his problems seem to be like not being able to read the open target. And I feel like after a bye week, maybe he spent some time, I don't know this, I'm just guessing. Maybe he spent some time kind of figuring that out. And Denver, like if there's a team to go up against to like get right against, it's Denver. I mean, they're just awful, worst defense in the league. Um, Also, like Denver might be tanking. There's a clip of Sean Payton saying how this is before he was the coach. There's a clip of Sean Payton saying how he would tank for Caleb Williams. Um, and that is possible. But however, players don't tank, so I can't really quite say that's gonna be what's happening, but um yeah, I don't know. I I couldn't really find a side on this game. I'm just hoping I just feel like Jordan Love will get right against Denver because I mean every quarterback gets right against Denver. Next we have Arizona at Seattle. I'm taking Seattle -7 here. Arizona, they started off like kind of kind of hot, I guess. Not hot, but like they started off well. They played close games. No one expected them to be close, but a lot of those games were against NFC East opponents. And Jonathan Gannon, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, was, as everyone knows, the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, and it seems like he knows how to play those teams in that division, the NFC East, that is. And it seems like when he's going against these teams that aren't in the NFC East, he's getting blown out. I wonder if that's like a real thing. So we're gonna test it out this week against Seattle. Seattle's been figuring it out on offense. I think they're gonna fix their red zone offense against this team. Um, and yeah, and I think Pete Carroll against Jonathan Gannon. I feel like that's gonna be a big coaching mismatch in favor of Seattle here. Next, we got Pittsburgh at Los Angeles Rams. I could not find a side on this one. I'm taking Pittsburgh +3.5, but that's mostly because I just like taking points when I'm in doubt. I like Tomlin as a dog, as everyone does. This is in the Rams Stadium, which, as everyone knows, I mean, that's an away stadium. No, they have like no fans that actually go to the stadium. Pittsburgh has one of the biggest fan bases in America. Um, it's gonna be mostly Steeler fans in there, so it's not really gonna be a home game for the Rams. like usual. I think TJ Watt is really going to pressure Stafford. We saw the Eagles and the Bengals when they pressured Stafford, it basically shut him down. I think TJ Watt will be able to do that. And on offense, maybe they throw to Pickens more. I really hope they figured that out to throw to Pickens more. The games they win, it's because they're throwing to Pickens. They need to draw more stuff for him. Maybe they did that. I really hope they're going to do that. I just, I don't get why they're not doing that. So yeah, Pittsburgh plus 3.5. I don't like it, but that's kind of how I went through it. Next, we got Miami at Philly. This game's gonna be fire. I got Philly minus 2.5, and maybe you can call me a homer or whatever. Um, and maybe I'm just coping here, but the only team Miami has lost to is Buffalo, and Buffalo got pressure on Tua, and it didn't shut him down, but it definitely strangled their offense a bit. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I am worried about Philadelphia's secondary. They got some injuries. I'm pretty sure Reed Blankenship, their safety, is going to be out. That's going to be a huge loss. They signed Josiah Scott, who's not good, and Sidney Brown is healthy again. So he's going to help. Hopefully, he gets more playing time than Scott, but we'll see. Darius Slay is supposed to be back. That's huge. And yeah, so on defense, that's kind of I. Jalen Carter is going to be back. Look for him to have a monster game. Hassan Reddick, you know. I don't think Miami's defense is going to do that much. Um, I mean, we saw against Buffalo, they couldn't stop them. And then we see Philly's last loss was against the Jets, and Miami's defense is nowhere near the Jets' defense, at least right now. Um, so yeah, I think Jalen will bounce back. I don't expect him to be that bad again. Um, Another thing, it's going to be windy and cold on the East Coast, and Achan for Miami is out. They still have Mostert, who's very good. Um, I just think if they take away the passing game, or if they take away the running game, then they'll be able to pressure to it when he passes. And Achan being out definitely helps with that. It's gonna be high scoring though. They'll have to win in a shootout, I think. But I'm gonna take Philly minus 2.5 here. Finally, Monday Night Football, we got 49ers at Vikings. I got 49ers minus 6.5. Christian McCaffrey is questionable, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna play. At least that's what it sounds like when he talks. I took the Niners here because I have no idea how the Vikings will stop them. Um, I like Purdy in a dome. I think, he's used to like his best throwing games are on like the West Coast in nice weather, and I don't think that's a coincidence. So I think in a dome-like setting, he's gonna be his usual self. And finally, I just don't know how Minnesota will score against this defense, especially without Justin Jefferson. I mean, it could be like they might only get up a few field goals, like to be honest. Um, so yeah, those are all my picks. Um, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Helps the algorithm. Let me know if you're picking a game, what side you like, or if you have a different opinion. I'd like to hear it. I'll respond. And we can have a civil discussion. We don't have to fight like everyone on Twitter and whatnot. Um, so yeah, or let me know what you thought about the Thursday night game. And yeah, thank you for watching.